It's strange how quiet the world gets when you finally decide to pull away. Not block her, not chase her, just vanish from the places she once knew you'd always be. If this is you, you're probably sitting in that dim room right now, phone screen face down like it betrayed you, telling yourself you're fine, that you're done, but your chest tightens anyway, the kind of pressure you only feel when something mattered more than you admitted. Maybe this hits closer than you expected, because you didn't go no contact to punish her. You did it because you were tired of hearing your own voice echoing into silence. Tired of being the one who cared louder. Tired of pretending her mixed signals didn't bruise you. You remember the little things she'd do. The way she'd look away when she caught you staring too long. How she'd text you back slower on the days you needed her most. How she'd joke about losing you like it could never actually happen. And you let it slide. Over and over. Until one day you realized the version of you she kept seeing wasn't even you anymore. Just a man begging to be chosen. There's a regret you don't talk about. That moment when you almost said, "This is hurting me," but swallowed it because you didn't want to seem weak. The nights you checked her online status and felt that stupid sting when she wasn't checking yours. The fear that maybe she never cared the way you cared. But here's the thing you're not ready to admit: walking away wasn't about her. It was the first time you chose a short you, and now a different question haunts you. When she realizes the silence you gave her isn't a tantrum, but a turning point, what do you think she'll feel when she finally understands she can't reach the version of you she used to take for granted? Listen, slow down for a second. Most guys think no contact is some kind of magic trick. Ignore her long enough and she'll come running back. Punish her with silence. Win the game. That's not how this works. And you probably feel that already deep in your chest, where the truth sits heavier than you admit. See, when I talk to you like an older brother, I'm not here to hype you up. I've lived this. Watch my friends live it. Watch the quiet ache in a man who's tired of trying to be enough for someone who couldn't see him clearly. Here's what most men get wrong. They think distance is about her. It's not. It's about you getting back to yourself. There's this moment you might remember. That night you were sitting in your car, engine off, hands still on the wheel. You told yourself you were done, but in the dark you still checked your notifications just in case. That's the part no one admits. The part you hide because it feels weak. But it's human, and it's exactly why the silence you're giving her now hits different. Here's another truth. A man doesn't earn respect through absence. He earns it by us, or self-respect, by choosing not to chase someone who never met him halfway. Most guys go no contact, but stay emotionally glued to her, counting days, replaying memories, watching her online and pretending it doesn't hurt. That's not strength. That's waiting in disguise. Going beyond no contact means something else entirely. It means you stop performing. You stop hoping she'll realize your worth. You start realizing it yourself. Masculine principle number 1, a man's value shows in what he refuses to tolerate. Masculine principle number 2, you're not measured by how long you can hold on, but by when you know it's time to let go. And that's why she won't forget you. Because the moment you stop orbiting her world, she finally sees the empty space you filled, the space she thought would always be there. Tell me, when she notices that silence isn't anger but evolution, do you think she'll recognize what she just lost? It starts on a night that wasn't supposed to matter. You're sitting on the edge of your bed, elbows on your knees, the room lit only by that cheap lamp with the flickering bulb you've been meaning to replace. There's this low hum from the ceiling fan, steady, annoying, almost comforting. Your phone is face down beside you, but you can feel it, like it's breathing, like it's waiting for something you already know won't come. You tell yourself you're fine. You even mutter it under your breath, but your chest tightens anyway. A memory hits you out of nowhere. Her laugh echoing in a hallway, that stupid way she used to nudge your shoulder when she thought you were being dramatic. You don't want to remember that. Not tonight. Not when you're trying to hold yourself together. You stand up, walk to the kitchen, bare feet on cold tiles. You open the fridge without knowing why. Close it again. The silence in the apartment feels heavier than usual, like it's leaning in, listening. If she cared, you whisper, she'd reach out. And the second you say it, something inside you cracks. Not loudly, not dramatically, more like a quiet shift. The moment a man realizes he's been waiting for someone who never really held him in the way he held her. That's when you decide. Not as revenge, not as a strategy, just exhaustion. You turn off your phone for the first time in months. The screen goes black, dead. And in that tiny second, the air feels different. Still painful, still raw, but honest. Days pass. You don't count them. But she does. She notices the absence first. The way your name doesn't pop up. The way her jokes don't land on your screen anymore. She scrolls your chat, pretending she's just bored. But her thumb pauses on that last message you sent. The one she left unseen. Because she thought you'd just stay. She replays old voice notes. The ones she never responded to properly. There's a tightening in her throat she doesn't tell anyone about. And somewhere in that growing silence, in that space where your presence used to make everything easy, she realizes something she never expected. You weren't waiting anymore. And that's the moment she won't forget. Not now. Not years from now. Because losing a man who finally outgrew the hurt she kept him in has a way of echoing louder than any goodbye. There's this belief a lot of men hold, sometimes without even knowing it far. If I pull away, she'll finally understand. It sounds logical. It sounds fair. But it's built on a quiet hope, the hope that she's paying as much attention to that distance as you are. Truth is, most men don't actually pull away. They just stop texting while still living in emotional chains. They stare at their phone. They wait. They rehearse what they'll say if she ever reaches out. I've been there. Once, after breakup, I told myself I was done. But every night, I'd still check her Instagram story, even though half of me didn't want to see anything. I wasn't gone. I wasn't free. I was just pretending, and that's why nothing changes. Because the man never left, his presence just shrank. She didn't ghost you. You disappeared from yourself. Another belief men cling to, if she doesn't come back, it means I wasn't enough. That one hits harder because it rides on old wounds. Childhood moments, old relationships, silent insecurities. You think losing her is proof you failed. But sometimes people don't stay because they don't have the capacity, not because you lacked value. A friend once told me he felt replaceable after his ex moved on fast. But he only saw the surface, the photos, the captions, the highlight reel. He never saw the nights she cried because she knew she contributed to losing someone solid. He never saw the quiet spaces where his absence punched holes in her confidence. You don't lose her. You lose your own presence. Then there's the biggest belief, attention is love. But attention is easy. Anybody can watch your stories. Anybody can reply when they're bored. Anybody can breadcrumb you enough to keep you emotionally tied. Respect is different. Respect is when she shows up even on her busy days. When she remembers the things you thought she'd forget. When she considers how her actions land on you. Attention is cheap. Respect is priceless. Waking up from these beliefs isn't sudden, it's slow. Like realizing the pain you thought was about her has always been about you remembering who you are when you're not chasing someone who can't meet you at the same depth. And once you see that, really see it, she's the one who won't forget you. Because a man who returns to himself leaves an imprint no silence can erase. The 1% headman sees the whole thing differently. This is what he understands. Silence isn't a tactic. It's a mirror. And if he's not okay facing his own reflection, then no amount of distance will create the shift he wants. So he stops using space as a weapon. He uses it as a place to breathe, to return to himself. He doesn't panic when she pulls back. He notices the tension in his chest. Sure, that small tightness that makes most men reach for their phone, but he doesn't move from it. He lets it settle. He lets the storm pass through, without reacting to the first gust. There's this moment that separates him from everyone else. She takes longer to reply, and instead of spiraling, he closes the app, grabs his keys, and goes for a drive. Windows down, real air, real life. He reminds himself, I existed before her attention. I'll exist after it. This is how he leads, with presence, not pressure. He gives her space without secretly hoping for a notification. He speaks calmly when he does speak. No edge, no desperation, no hidden plead for validation. He's centered, not cold. Detached, not numb. He knows something most men overlook. When a man is rooted in himself, he becomes unforgettable, not because he disappears, but because he no longer needs anyone to confirm his worth. And that's the shift she feels long after he walks away. It happens on a day that isn't dramatic at all. You're just standing at the sink, washing a glass you barely used, warm water running over your hands, sunlight hitting the counter in that soft, hazy way that makes everything feel slower. Your phone buzzes once on the table behind you. Not her. Someone else. Something trivial. But you still look, out of habit, out of hope you don't want to admit you still carry. And in that tiny moment, something inside you shifts. A flash, her laughing while you waited in the doorway. Another, you typing a long message and deleting half because you didn't want to sound needy. Another, her saying, I'm just tired, when you knew she wasn't tired at all. Your chest tightens, then loosens, almost like your body is finally catching up to a truth your mind kept dodging. You set the glass down, dry your hands slowly. The silence in the room feels different now, not empty, just honest. A thought drifts in, soft as a whisper. You gave too much of yourself to someone who barely gave you back a fraction. And then the weight drops. Hard, clean, final. I'm done breaking myself to be understood. You walk past your phone without checking it. Not to prove anything, not to win, just because you suddenly remember what it feels like to choose yourself first. That's the moment everything changes. The moment she loses the version of you who would have bent just to be seen. And you become the man she never stops remembering. There's a moment every man reaches, that quiet place where the noise finally dies. Where you stop waiting for her name to light up your screen. Stop bargaining with memories that never gave back what they took. You feel the air differently now. Heavier. Cleaner. Like the room knows you're not the same man who used to kneel for breadcrumbs. She'll feel it too. In the silence she once thought she controlled. In the space where your presence used to soften her world. In the gravity you reclaimed the second you stopped performing for her attention. And the truth lands sharp, undeniable. A man who returns to himself is the one she never forgets.